Fallujah, 2004. The Second Battle of Fallujah would go on to be one of the heaviest battles in urban combat since Hughes City in 1968 during the Vietnam War. Battle would start at the 7th of November and end on the 23rd of December. This battle had many units involved due to the invasion of Iraq, but especially the unit focused on today's video is the 3rd Marine Battalion, 1st Marines. The men in this unit would help create one of the most controversial games of the 2010s and even the 2020s, 6 Days in Fallujah. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be going over the game 6 Days in Fallujah and discuss the history of the game, the cancellation, and the revival and possible release. Before we get started though, if you enjoy the video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get updates on when I upload next. Do want to go ahead and say I saw we hit 30 subs. Just want to say thank you so much for watching the channel and subscribing. Really keeps the channel going. I will be posting the Discord and my Twitter page for you to follow. So make sure you join the Discord and follow that page for me. I'll put my future uploads and stuff on there as well. And if you want to discuss with me on Discord and or Twitter. So yeah, back into it. This game was originally announced in 2009. It was being published by Konami and developed by Atomic Games, who previously had created training tools for the Marine Corps. They would then be approached after the deployment that the 3rd 1st Marines had in Fallujah to make a game about their experience. The game would be created in a new engine that promised 100% destructibility due to the tactics the Marines used to gain entry into buildings, due to the dangerous and unpredictable nature that the insurgents had set up inside. The developers would consulted Marines and also some of the Iraqi people who were there during the battle to gain further authenticity of the battle from both sides. The game would apparently include friendly fire mechanics and the potential to shoot unarmed civilians, as they wanted to recreate the battle and the war crimes associated as closely as possible. The game, shortly after being announced, would be criticized for wanting to tell the tale of this battle due to the invasion of Iraq being what many would say is meaningless, because later on down the line we would find that the reasons for invading Iraq were not true, and this battle would be known to have terrible war crimes attached. Many had felt that the game was capitalizing on war and that it was too soon to even consider making a game on the conflict. Due to the negative criticism of this game, Konami would not publish the game anymore, and by 2012 the company would say that the game is not canceled and they had hoped to release it, but shortly after that announcement we had radio silence. This game is very interesting, especially the original features of the game. Of course, as I get into later, the game would be re-announced, but the original 2009 to 2012 build of the game really included different mechanics you saw that were popular in 2009 to 2012. For one, the game was a third-person shooter of the time, and the game seemed to kind of emulate the Frostbite engine by including destructible buildings. What's very interesting though, they said that the engine was better than what at the time Battlefield Bad Company was running on. So they had promised an engine that was better than Frostbite, and if you know the future of the Frostbite engine, that would become the engine for every EA title. And you would see it with the Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, all the Battlefields. You even see it with the new Dead Space remake. I think they are using the Frostbite engine for the game. And it's just very interesting to see that Konami wanted to develop this game, as, of course, shooters, especially about war, were popular at this time because Modern Warfare and Battlefield were the reigning titles. And this game wanted to tell a realistic tale about war that happened not so long ago. But what's really interesting is, like I read, the game, it was felt that it was being made too soon, but also was capitalizing on war, which is a very interesting concept with games, because a lot of games we do tell the tales of war. Call of Duty, Battlefield, very important franchises in the war genre that pick and choose historical events, and they put them in their game. So, but this game would be the first game that truly told the tale, as the Marines who were there were going to be characters in the game. And it's very interesting to see how much controversy this game would have gotten due to the nature of using the real Marines of this unit, and also telling the tale of Iraqi citizens that were trying to escape the city or were holed up in the middle of a war zone. So, but the game would then get an announcement trailer on February 11, 2021. This would reveal that the game was now being developed by Highwire Games, who had helped on Halo and Destiny. They were ex-Bungie members that went out and formed their own company. This game was also being published by Victura, so Atomic Games would not be making the game going forward. It seems that Highwire would pick it up, and they would be published by a company named Victura. Now, this company, Victura, this is the first game they're going to publish I could find. Apparently they're a newer company. They're really coming out with a big swing, as we'll find out later in this video. This new version of the game being developed, the developers went on to interview 100 Marines and Iraqi civilians to recreate the battle. The developers would go on to say that they are not making a political game, and they are making a game about the civilians and soldiers fighting, which is very interesting because the original game had a little bit of politics in it, with the way the Marines would handle themselves in Fallujah during this battle. While this one, it seems that they're wanting to kind of stray away from that. They want to make a game about the conflict, but not get into the gray nature that was this battle, which is really hard to do because you're making a game about a very controversial battle that happened in part of the 20 years we spent over in the Middle East. And it's very hard for you not to include that gray area because that was the battle. There was really no black and white. The invasion of Iraq was not a black and white situation. A lot of gray. And this battle really tested the morals of everyone. And if you're not going to include that, why are you making it? No offense. But they also would go on to say that the game also does not have any atrocities that took place during the battle itself, as they do not want to say what is and isn't a war crime. Which is understandable. But if the battle was known later for war crimes that were committed, wouldn't it give the game the realistic take Atomic and now Highwire would want or are wanting to pursue? That's the thing. With a battle that's so heavy on war crimes, you don't have to include crimes that were not suitable. Like, I just don't understand. Why would you want to make a game about this when you're not going to include one of the crucial parts of what people know about this battle? Because if you really want to help show what the Iraqi civilians went through who lived in Fallujah, and also what the Marines did, who were the good, who were decent soldiers in this battle and followed the rules, why wouldn't you put situations where they see their fellow teammates doing wrong things, and it's your choice to either watch that happen or say something? I just don't understand, because the Modern Warfare series reboot has shown war crimes that does not demean the story that you're trying to tell, or it even enforces that what the game is about. That even the good guys can make mistakes, and there's no black and white anymore in modern combat, due to the fact that a lot of wars are fought with gray areas. Mostly all of them are gray. So that's my thing about that. I don't think the game should be chock full of war crimes, but I feel like if you're not going to talk about them or acknowledge they happened, it really just seems like you're trying to make a game that war is cool, and this war was really cool, and we're not going to talk about it. So the developers would go on to say that they want the game to open curiosity for the player, that they might go and research further about this battle. So I understand this. You want them to go research it, but if you're not going to put anything about how dirty this battle was, I don't think they're not going to want to, they're just going to see it as a battle. It's like, oh, that's cool. The Marines really showed their grit and fought. I mean, and you're not going to you're not going to show what could have, or what happened during that battle. I love history. I'm a history nerd. Part of the reason I'm making this video. But if you're not going to include historical authenticity, the game is losing that part, regardless of what it was. War crimes are war crimes. And if you're making a game that's supposed to be a historical retelling battle, a famous battle, you've got to include even the dirty. That's just, if you're going to want to keep this realism, you got to keep that. But the developers did not want the game to show all the bad caused. Developers also speak on how they want to show the civilian side of this battle by including a plot line that includes a father trying to get his family to safety during the battle, it's really cool. That's a cool plot, because it's very important to show the side of the civilians that suffered and were hurt due to this battle, because there was a third side. And that was the civilians who were also getting shot at, terrified. And they need their story told too. It's very important. They would also later go on to say how they incorporated a documentary portion of the game that has 25 civilians and dozens of service members speaking on their experience to bring more authenticity to the game. But with this announcement, the controversy would come back, as many people would ask again, why is this being made? Because many see the game as glorifying war and the atrocities committed and bringing back the terrible memories and losses the Iraqi people endured. And the way that they're describing how this game is kind of seems that way. Of course, the developer, wait till the game comes out, then you can assess. But if you're not going to include any atrocities that were committed, or open up the knowing about that, whether it's like side dialogue from your fellow Marines talking about how someone killed a civilian that was unarmed. I mean, you don't have to show people getting gunned down. You can include world-building dialogue that speaks about the atrocities. Like, dude, you won't believe what I saw. I saw a civilian get gunned down or blown up, something. Because this game doesn't have to be like, okay, you start the game, civilian shot right in front of you. You can tell that by not showing it. And I hope that's what they do with the game, if they show anything. I really don't want them to build up this plot line with the father and his family only for the Marines you play as to kill him. I feel like that's really stupid. Shortly after the announcement, the petition would gain 16,950 signatures, but would not stop the game from continuing. This petition came out days after the announcement trend. And the petition reads this. Victura and Highwire Games just announced their 2021 release of a game called 6 Days in Fallujah that promotes the mass murder of Iraqis by American invaders. To add insult to injury, a demo of the game was circulated on the 18th anniversary of the Iraq War, an illegal invasion and occupation by U.S. forces and their allies. This was an intentional war crime that included mass war crimes of hundreds of thousands of Iraqis and the displacement of even more. Now, with this sign, this is what their terms they wanted to happen. The cancellation of the game, video game developers and publishers start taking responsibility and consider the toxic Iraq-related games that they may be working on. An end to the commodification and trivialization of Iraqi death in mainstream media, because the Iraq War was a war against humanity, not an inspiration for entertainment. So, very obvious, people weren't happy about it. There were articles that came out later that would discuss, this game was announced in 2009, it's back. So, but of course, as we know, a gameplay trailer would be released on March 23rd of 2021 that would show off the game mechanics, such as squad command gameplay, and how the AI would react to the player in the game. The trailer would also show off the new procedurally generated map of Fallujah that would create more realism in the game. This map design, the rooms would change, the buildings would change, even the entire map would change whenever a player loaded up their save, because they wanted, due to a lot of the interviews they gave, a lot of Marines would go on to say how the city would change every day. And they wanted to include that by doing this procedurally generated map idea. The trailer would also show how they interviewed Iraqi civilians that were in the city during the battle. This game would keep them blacked out, though, for their safety due to, at the time and even now, it is dangerous to speak out in that area just because of what's going on. The game would then be delayed to Q4 2022. But then as of now, a rumor has come out that it's been delayed to 2023, but it's internal. There's no official word from the studio. So we've had radio silence since, I think it was November of 2022 when the article came out that they released on their website. The game is known for being questioned if it should be made due to the battle being just 18 years old at the time of making this video. The fact that the entire invasion of Iraq is questioned to this day of why it happened. The game is a reminder that we cannot make everything in 2 games, but it does bring the point of, if we are questioning the creation of this game, why are we not questioning take battles from history and turn them into like Call of Duty? If we're going to start questioning this, then we need to start questioning why we're making games about the Vietnam War, known as well for the atrocities and war crimes committed. We cannot question one game. We got to be fair to all of them. Gonna question one, question them all. Especially Call of Duty, that is, in all sense and purposes, it does glorify war. The new Modern Warfare series really has shown off war crimes, but the originals did. As much as I love those games, they did glorify war because you're always the good guys at the end of the day. Modern Warfare showed that differently. In the campaigns, they've shown that maybe you're not the good guy every day. You do things that are bad. But this video isn't meant to be 100% my opinion. I wanted to present this game because I want you guys to see the facts of the game. I want you guys to understand what this game is, if it's coming out, and how others received it, because this is important about history of this game and of this battle in Iraq. If you guys enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. I'm actually considering making more like these that cover historical battles that are in video games. I think it's a cool concept to take on, and I think it would be really fun to talk about other famous battles or other battles in general that are put into video games, and talking about how they were put into the video games, when they were put in, and the reaction to that game. Because I am a history nerd myself. I do love history. I study a lot of war. I'm a big fan of war history and how it's affected society as a whole in the world, and it's just something I really enjoy. But if you've made it this far to the video, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. My videos can be a little bit longer. Not as long as some, but I do like to discuss a little more than usual, especially as I get my content more developed. But if you want to discuss your thoughts on this video or the game discussed in this video, please drop a comment. I would love to discuss with you about what you think about 6 Days in Fallujah as a game and how it reflects the Iraq War, or if you think it should be made or not. Would love to discuss that with you, because I would love to talk more about the game with my viewers. And also, like I said at the beginning of the video, I am creating a Discord, and I will link that in my Twitter page in there so that you can join and we can discuss games further. And again, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for future updates on the channel. Again, thank you all. Peace.